Welcome to the world united.
Welcome to the world united.
First of all, I'd like to say that it's an honor to be here and a real privilege to be invited. And I just love your country. It has been an amazing place to hold the heart open and the energy of spirit front and center in the world. So thank you very much for that. I'm here today to talk about something that has been dear to my heart and I've lived my whole life, and that is that we are now in a grand transition on this planet. And it's coming to a point right at this place, and we know that because of our date and why we all consciously gather, where we are about to make a huge transformation, and yet people wonder, well, what exactly is that transformation? What exactly and how exactly does that look, and how do I know that I'm making that transformation and not being left behind? And in a humble effort to try to share at least what I energetically feel and experience and have observed, that transformation is simply this. We have been living as human beings from a perspective and a consciousness and an energy and a frequency and a vibration that resonates on a soul level. And our soul is the part of us that comes to the planet to learn, that comes and embodies and envelopes ourselves in physical bodies so that we may go through various lessons. And as you know, we call that karma. But unfortunately, we human beings have been learning too slowly. And we can no longer have the luxury of living collectively at this rate and this pace, because as we so sadly are observing, we're not learning quick enough, fast enough, and deeply enough to live our full potential. So we're being supported by the heavens, by each other, and by our own inner knowing. And we are being told that it's time to leave the frequency and the luxury of living at the level of soul and begin to step into and live at the level and the frequency of spirit. Frequency of spirit is the frequency of our divine God self. The frequency of the soul is very much like the one watching. And the front lens of the soul, I actually believe, is the lens of the human ego. And behind it is the story of the human journey, lifetime after lifetime. And the frequency and the lens of the human ego basically boils down to one thing: me against you, and you scare me. So we put up an energy, we put up a force that separates us out, isolates us, and allows us to entertain the illusion that what we do and how we conduct ourselves doesn't affect anyone else. And it's just the grand illusion and the most destructive illusion, both in the negative, as we've experienced what happened in our own country in America a week ago, but also in the positive. What we do, how we live, how we express, how we connect, affects everyone. By moving into the frequency of the spirit, there is no me against you. We are all just one spirit, uniquely expressing that divine light. So the grand transformation from 2012, December 21st, is to step out of our illusions, that we don't matter, that we're not affecting one another, and that we have all the time in the world to learn what we're way overdue in learning. To live in the spirit is the divine mandate that we are all invited here to share with the world, and hopefully the world will be sharing with us. So how do we do that and succeed? Well, I believe that we are given 3 gifts three supports to do that effectively, and without them, we will not succeed. The first is grace. God's given grace that is that holiness that breathes through our body and helps us be bigger than our fears, helps us live beyond our limitations, and helps us have the courage. That word, the word cœur, which is a French word which means of the heart, to step out and shine our lights and our love. So therefore, we must pray for grace because we can't demand it. We can only humble to it. By the grace of God, we gather here in this moment. By the grace of God, we even have the consciousness to gather here and know that this is our moment. The grace of God to give us life, to give us this planet, to give us creativity to make choices. And the grace of God to forgive us, even now. We need that to succeed, so pray for grace. And how can you let a day go by where you can't acknowledge the grace that has been given already? So every evening, thank God for the grace that brought you here. The second tool, the second resource we need to make this grand transformational shift from soul, ego to spirit is guidance. The heart is the first organ in the human body to be developed way before the brain, the thinking brain. That is the second brain. The heart is the first brain. That first brain is the one connected to heaven, to your holiness, to resource, and the one that helps you remember, honor, and live your most authentic, open, loving self. And it isn't an overwhelming energy. It is a subtle energy, so subtle that it feels like a butterfly's wing on your cheek sometimes. It doesn't speak English or Hindi or French, or it speaks energy. So we have to tune inward and begin to feel that energy in our hearts that whispers and informs us. Our inner guidance not only gives us direction in the outer world, but it gives us the direction to stay in integrity, wholeness, so that we don't feel good when we deviate from who we are designed to be as holy beings. When we begin to step off our path of truth, we feel so uncomfortable that we have to breathe ourselves back in. Guidance comes not in the intellect, it comes in the heart. And it doesn't necessarily move your brain first, it moves your belly, because here is where we make our choices. And the third is gifts. Our third resource. We have gifts in three ways. The first is to recognize the gifts from God. The gifts of being alive, the gifts of the planet, the gifts of our breath, the gifts of our physical capabilities, our mental capabilities, the gift of language, the gift of listening, the gift of speaking, the gift of seeing, the gift of being alive and experiencing this wondrous place. And the second is to be aware of the gifts of others that bring us these incredible treasures. The gifts that enlighten and expand our awareness so that we know we're not living in a small world of the past, that every moment is a miracle. The gift of someone's smile, even someone's reprimand. The gift of someone's invitation, even the gift of someone's deference. We are gifted by everybody we encounter in every moment if we'll only pay attention. And the third is to use our own gifts. Purpose of life is very simple. Know your gifts and use them. Many years ago, I had a teacher share with me that the 1,000-petaled lotus that we call the crown chakra, each petal represents a gift. We are massively gifted. 1,000 gifts. It's not like, let me find my one gift, but let me open and share my 1,000 gifts. Let that be whether it's the gift of listening, the gift of supporting, the gift of creating, the gift of writing, the gift of music, the gift of dance, as we just witnessed, the gift of expression, the gift of technicality, the gift of even creating chaos. Because even that invites even more new creativity. Our transformation is upon us. And that transformation invites us to stop living the luxury and the story of soul. The Spirit has no story. The Spirit has no time. The Spirit has no history. The Spirit is light. And the Spirit is expressed in only one way, and that is love. Each of us, let each of us become incredibly uncomfortable living in our soul frequency. And let us start yearning, reaching, and beginning. Our expression is light beings, beings of lightness. We talk too much. We take too many notes. We complicate things. And it all gives us reason to stay in story. To live your spirit is so simple. Your country knows. The world knows. It's the breath. Breathe. Breathe with me, because that is the unifying thread for all of us. Let us breathe our minds quiet and our hearts open. Let us breathe our soul quiet and our spirit open. Let us look at one another and not the story, but share the breath, share the Spirit. That's why we gather. But even gathering won't make a difference unless we take from this gathering a huge commitment to accept the holy mandate that we are feeling from the universe and the loving waves that are coming to us, that we are being asked to wake up. Let go of our affection for story. Let us embrace our love of Spirit. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. May I call upon Mr. Andre Rell to felicitate the speakers. Also, Dr. Sunil, please come on to the dais to felicitate our speakers.